Wisconsin has rebounded after 2 early season stumbles. The promotion of Brooks Bollinger has given the Badgers offense much-needed balance. And on the heels of 2 straight wins over top 25 competition, Ron Dayne and the Badgers are gearing up for their stretch run. And that stretch run begins on homecoming 1999. As usual, Camp Randall Stadium packed for the matchup between the number 18 rated Badgers of Wisconsin and the much improved Indiana Hoosiers. And we welcome you to Madison on homecoming. I'm Dave Barnett. No matter what happens in the game, this is already a good day for the Badgers because unlike last week, their head coach, Barry Alvarez, is here on the premises. He'll be coaching from the press box. Last week, he was coaching as best he could on the phone from his Mayo Clinic hospital bed where he was undergoing knee surgery. He's here. That surgery has been postponed for a month now. But while he has been undergoing his physical difficulties, this offense has improved because they've settled on a quarterback, and Brooks Bollinger does not look like a redshirt freshman.
Just think about the fact that you're a redshirt freshman. You're going to 2 hostile Big Ten stadiums for your first 2 starts. You come out with 2 wins, reasonable numbers, no interceptions. Bingo, you got the respect of every player on the football team. Brooks is the man at quarterback now.
On the other side, Antwaan Randle-El opposing Brooks Bollinger, and for Indiana, he is on a milestone pace. He can become the first D1A quarterback ever, 1,000 rushing yards, 2,000 passing yards in the same year. The good news for them, they have improved their balance over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's wonderful to gain all those yards, and he is amazing, but he's been 66% of the offense, and he needs some help. Last week, he got it. LeBron Williams, 241 yards from the tailback position, and 106 yards out of the fullback position with Johnson and Hogan. If he gets that kind of balance, then Indiana can compete with anybody.
They know they're going to have Ron Dayne pounding the middle. They hope they're equal to the task today. The Hoosiers and the Badgers ready to tee it up from Camp Randall on homecoming. Right now, let's welcome Brian Kenny in the studio.
ESPN's presentation of college football is brought to you by Goodyear, innovators of run-flat technology, and by the bold look of Kohler.
Welcome again, Camp Randall Stadium filling up. There will be 77,000 plus here on an overcast, cool, maybe rainy day as we progress here. And right now, we'll welcome the 3rd member of our crew on the sidelines, Dave Ryan.
Well, Dave, thanks a lot. We'll be watching the Indiana sideline very closely today to see how they respond to the loss of their senior leader, captain, defensive end, and star player, Adewale Ogunleye. Knocked out last week for the year with a knee injury against Northwestern. At the time he went down, Adewale was having a great senior season. 11 tackles for loss, 8 sacks, to put him into the top 6 all-time in Big Ten history in those 2 categories. Now, at the start of practice last week in Bloomington, Adewale was not on the field with his teammates. They felt a great void, but he talked to a lot of them and said after rehab, he'd be just fine, and then they got much more focused on the game plan with Wisconsin. Head coach Cam Cameron has a 4-man rotation plan for defensive end to replace Adewale. 2 of those players will get plenty of action today, Sean Nelson and Dominique Smith. But guys, even those 4 players can't replace the most valuable defensive Hoosier on the field.
That would be a little too much to expect for Cam Cameron. 7.5 sacks this year for Ogunleye, co-leader in the Big Ten. Cameron hoping to pull the road upset, the 4th youngest coach in Division 1A, showing major signs of improvement with his Hoosiers having won the toss and elected to defer. Andy Payne is set to kick to Nick Davis and Michael Bennett. Davis 5 yards each, and the Badgers will start after the touchback at their 20-yard line. And Ron Dayne today needs 147 yards for 1,000. His 4th 1,000-yard season. Only 3 have ever done it. Coons, excellent fullback. The receivers are headed by Davis. Great deep threat, averaging 19 per catch. Retzlaff, the tight end. Chambers, also a speed threat at the other wide out. And the offensive line, as usual, huge and paced by Chris McIntosh, a Lombardi semifinalist and Outland candidate as well. Ferrario, Rabach, Costa, and Tauscher up front. 300 plus across the board. Dayne with his first carry. Stacked up after a gain of 2. by the Indiana defense, which has Sean Nelson starting today in Agunlia's defensive end spot with Mandina, Zapp, and a much-improved Kemp Rasmussen joining him up front. The linebackers are paced by Justin Smith, their leading tackler, 48 stops on the year for the converted strong safety Smith. Devin Schaefer's in the middle, Jocelyn Goodman on the other outside spot, and then their secondary. Greg Yeldell figures to probably get more collisions with Dane than anybody. At strong safety, McGrath, Wallace, and Tucker. First catch of the day, Demetrius Brown. Out of bounds near the 40-yard line, a 17-yard strike from Bollinger. Everybody that has watched Brooks Bollinger operate against Ohio State and Minnesota the last 2 weeks comes away saying this is a redshirt freshman.
He operates with such skill. I mean, he really looks like he's in complete control of his faculties, and his faculties are substantial. He runs well. He's smooth. He's got style.
Reads well, audibilizes into touchdowns. All after just a couple of starts. Dane trying to get wide, and that is what Indiana wants to do. Brooks Bollinger and Scott Kavanaugh shared the quarterbacking the first 4 games. Kavanaugh was the starter, in fact, those first 4. Has missed the last 2 because of elbow problems. Bollinger, 2 weeks ago, orchestrated the biggest comeback of the Alvarez era, the decade of the 90s. 17-0 down at Ohio State. They won 42-17.
That was a great moment for the program, but the coaches feel like he really came of age in a loss. The 4th quarter of the Michigan game, Bollinger came in, conducted a long drive for a touchdown, and showed what he had at this point.
Retzlaff, the tight end, is in motion. Dane is hit behind the line of scrimmage and may lose one here at the 43-yard line. First contact from the defensive end, Kemp Rasmussen. Now, among the numbers that Ron Dane is chasing, and there are a whole slew of them, 7th nationally in rushing, 142 yards per game. He is the Big Ten leader, 147, as we said, to 1,000. He is 4th all-time, and he needs 173 per game. 5 games to go, including today, to pass Ricky Williams for number 1 all-time. If he does that and doesn't win the Heisman, they're going to be a little bit upset here in Madison. 3rd and 7, Chris Chambers, the motion man. Bollinger all day and will run, and he can run. And caught it up at midfield. There to jump on it, Mark Tauscher, the right tackle.
The first rookie mistake that we've seen from Bollinger in the films we've studied in all of his playing time, which is 3 games. He's coming out of the pocket. One of the things he does extremely well is to run with the football, and at Wisconsin, you're taught to secure that thing. He had it away from his body. It was knocked out. A very alert play by Mark Tauscher. That is not just a break. That's a big lineman being alert and staying in the football game. Good teams practice fumble recovery every day for every player on the team.
Rasmussen causing the fumble, and he takes over now for Agunlia as the best defensive lineman. Eddie Faulkner, the backup tailback behind Dane. On tackle to the 43-yard line, with the middle linebacker Devin Schaefer makes the tackle.
The Wisconsin offensive line has the capacity, the ability to create big gaping holes, which is what they just did. And Faulkner does very well with those kinds of holes. Dane does better.
Faulkner, a junior, long-time understudy today. We expect to see the fastest man of the team, Michael Bennett, get some time at tailback as well. Major speed from that sophomore. Bollinger is on target again, and Chambers spins away up the sideline. They will mark him inside the 20, a gain of 13. Now they're going to say he's out of bounds at the 30.
The Wisconsin offensive coaches feel like now that they have a lot of weapons on this team. Chambers is number 2, we believe, right after Dane in their minds. They feel like he's got to touch the ball 8 or 10 times a game.
Out of bounds right there at the 30. And a good call as he gets away from Maurice Tucker. So 1st and 10 from there for the Badgers on this opening drive of the game. Bollinger again with time and going deep to the end zone for Chambers. It is a perfect pass momentum.
We said we wanted that the coaches wanted Chambers to touch the ball. He just touched it. He showed the kind of poise on a great throw. Responded with a great catch over Maurice Tucker, number 21 for Indiana, and the first big play that Bollinger's produced in this game. He had a couple of last week that really helped produce the win at Minnesota.
Chambers, the leading receiver, his first touchdown. And for the extra point, Vitaly Kosetsky's kick is good, and it's 7-0. Chris Chambers, good size, excellent speed at 6'1", 205. The junior from Bedford, Ohio, 30 yards. Bollinger 3 for 3, 61 on the drive, and Wisconsin scores early.
ESPN's presentation of college football is brought to you by Dodge. Do not follow, do not conform, be different. And by BogDog.com, your anytime, anywhere online sports store.
Chris Chambers and Brooks Bollinger pick up where they left off a week ago, and an 8-play, 80-yard drive, which featured only 5 yards on 3 carries from Ron Dane. Kosetsky with the kick, returning it from the 5 is A.C. Carter, and he is hit hard at the 21-yard line. Jason Schick ending a 17-yard return of the Indiana offense headed by Randle-El, but featuring LeBron Williams, 241 yards against Northwestern last week, 4th best in school history. Hogan is the fullback. Favorite target has been Versi Gaddis, 20 catches, 3 of them for scores, better than 20 yards per catch. Osika, the tight end, Dorsey, the other wideout. Jamarcus Gorman, 3rd straight start, a walk-on who has earned some battlefield promotions this year. And not much room for a loss. Dorsey and Favre with the tackle for the Wisconsin defense. 16th in the country. Bryant has emerged this year. He's their leader, 6 sacks, 29 tackles up front with Favre, Malik, and Kalaji. The linebackers featuring Chris Dorsey, their leading tackler, 47, an academic all-conference pick as well, Lesowski and Thompson. And Jamar Fletcher, who led the country last year, 7 interceptions, not getting much action. They're avoiding him this year. Not Eccles on the other side. Myers enduring the safety. Fullback Hogan with some decent yards off tackle to the 26. 3rd down coming. The fullback position, Bill, productive and needs to be for Indiana.
I think the key to this football game for Indiana's offense is the productivity of the fullback position. They've got 2 good ones. Hogan, you just saw. Jeremy Williams is a fine true freshman. Number 1 will be in the game, and it won't be long.
One of their top rushing performances in Big Ten play ever against the Wildcats last week. 3rd down option pitch for Williams. Lost his footing as he tried to make the cut at the 25, and right there to make sure he didn't get up, Wendell Bryant, a 3-and-out for the Hoosiers. Badger defense led the country last year in points allowed per game. They have the sack leader, Tom Burke, who's graduated the NFL, but they're not too far away from those numbers that they posted last year all the way to the Rose Bowl. Drew Hagan, a much improved punter, by about 7 yards per kick over last year. Nick Davis, one of the top return men in the country, breaking a tackle. And another. Davis to midfield. 17 on the return. The Badgers up 7 and in great shape when we come back. Well, a lot of that return by Nick Davis negated now because of a holding penalty on the return by the Badgers, so they will start this second drive from their 33-yard line. Randle-El could not get anything going on Indiana's first drive.
The Wisconsin defense knows how to play Randle-El. They keep him in a handball court. This is exactly the terminology that Coach Alvarez uses when he talks about the way they stop him. And you see red jerseys outside, inside, and in front of the quarterback and the pitchback. No 241-yard day beginning with that drive. And when we talked to Kevin Cosgrove, the defensive coordinator, right here in the middle of your screen, there's Kevin, he said, and he made this very clear, we know how to defend the option around here. Well, it looks like they do.
He says we are option ready from spring practice on. We don't have to adjust week by week if we see it. It's always there for us. Powering off tackle is Ron Dane, a pickup of about 4 to the 37. And let's look in quickly on Ohio State and Penn State. They're underway. Brian Kenny.
Thank you, Dave. BogDog.com taking us to Happy Valley. Didn't take Penn State long. 4 plays, 79 yards. Eric McCoo with 53 of them right here. Going to get the Nittany Lions very close from there. Kevin Thompson will draw back. Mike Ceramelli coming out of the backfield. Fullback gets this touchdown, Penn State. Ohio State fumbled away its first possession, but the Buckeyes blocked the field goal attempt. 7-zip.
7-zip here. Badgers scored on their first drive. Their second possession, Bollinger 4 for 4. Chambers, who has the touchdown, dragging the secondary all the way to the 46 of the Hoosiers. And Justin Smith, in particular, hanging on for dear life. It goes 18 yards.
And you understand what Brian White, the offensive coordinator for Wisconsin, means when he says, hey, we've got other playmakers. Here's Coach A back here in the back. Brian sitting right there ahead of him. He can reach down and tap him on the shoulder and make a suggestion every now and then, but he loves to see Chambers in that secondary with the football.
From the 46 of Indiana, Dane Malone setback. A little room, and there's the yardage after contact. He got hit at the line of scrimmage. Continued on for a couple more. Smith joined by Mike McGrath, and you try to hit him low and hang on and hope for help if you're a defensive back.
It really helps to have a big, strong O-line. Good job by Tosher, Costa, Robach there. Nice hole. And you got the big fella loose in the secondary, and he's making those yards after contact, leaving various pieces of equipment, Dave, scattered on the field. Face mask and maybe a prostrate player here and there. He's tough.
Almost half his yards this year after he's been hit. Bollinger again has all day. Going deep, wide open is Michael Bennett, and he makes the catch in bounds at the 11. 29 yards for the sprinter. Wisconsin record holder in the 100 and the 200 meters, ranked second in the country as a senior.
And Brooks would love to have this throw back because it should have been 6 points. This is a learning experience. He got it inbounds just enough that Michael could get it in his hands before he went out of bounds. Had he led him slightly more to the inside, he would have run it into the end zone. Big part of the game plan for this game today was deep balls, and so far it's working to perfection for Wisconsin.
So from the 11, 2 tight ends in the eye, and Dane strung out, and that is exactly how Indiana hopes to do it every time.
If they can stone the offensive line, and that time the defensive line of Indiana got the best. You got the best of the offensive line. You see penetration. It doesn't look like the one where Dane made the nice run a moment ago. A nice stunt inside, movement into the backfield, no place to go. One man slows him up. They get him running side to side, about 6 black helmets on him, and that's how you get Ron Dane on the ground with a loss.
2 wides and 2 tight ends, and Bollinger guns it for the side, and a nice catch by Demetrius Brown. Slightly behind him, snagged it at the 3. Maurice Tucker had the coverage, 3rd and 2 from the 3.
A guy like Brooks Bollinger inspires confidence in his teammates so that they begin to make good plays. Ball's a little behind, turn and catch it. Ball's a little bit to the outside. Nice catch by Carter a minute ago, and so everything works together. There's a kind of a synergy in business here. We're watching it grow.
Brown is the only wideout. Dane with the give on 3rd and 2, and leads forward and has a touchdown. One of his numbers up near the top of the country, 4th nationally, coming in with 11 touchdowns. That's an even dozen. And Wisconsin 13-0.
play was not particularly well blocked, but Ron doesn't need everybody to get knocked down. He just drove through, made his patented touchdown move with those big pads down, 252 pounds of rocket about 6 inches off the ground.
Pasetsky, 2 weeks running, the Big Ten Special Teams Player of the Week. 20 of 21 now for extra points. Dane on the board, Wisconsin on the board twice. Still in the first quarter. Boy, if you're a defensive coordinator, you still have Wisconsin on your schedule. You got to be watching this first quarter and saying, oh my goodness, now we have to worry about Dane and a passer and speed on the outside. How do you possibly defend all?
Yeah, and it's not just Chambers with speed on the outside. They got so many weapons, and they're beginning to use all of them.
Well, Pasetsky rolls this one almost out of bounds. A.C. Carter on the return can only pick up about 3 yards from where he picked it up. At the 16-yard line, the Hoosiers are backed up.
Big Ron Dane given an opportunity here to improve his yards after first contact. He's hit at the 5, he's hit at the 4, the 3. He ends up in the end zone. You can see why his coaches and teammates believe so much in this great player.
Bollinger, as on the first scoring drive, 3 for 3. Indiana had a 3-and-out first time. They faked the option, and then Randle-El feels heat. He has to throw it away in the area of LeBron Williams. Georgia Tech and Duke. Brian Kenny.
All right, Dave, Joe Hamilton starting things off, going to Des White early on. Des White picking up his 4th touchdown reception of the year since then. Georgia Tech's gone in again, 14-0. Georgia Tech up on top, Dave.
Quarterback that Antwaan Randle-El is most compared to, I guess, Joe Hamilton.
I think Joe's got a stronger supporting cast and a different kind of offense.
Randle-El probably not the passer he is, but a better runner. And again, overthrown. This time intended for Percy Gaddis. 3rd and 10. Randle-El developing as a passer, and Cam Cameron says really making strides in orchestrating the game, getting the right call, in time, game management, clock management. He sees major progress this year.
All of those things, Dave. And I think Cam said it well. He was already a great athlete. He was already a great football player. Now he's becoming a fine quarterback, and there's a difference.
Shotgun 3 wide. Chase steps up, and the first scramble turns into big yardage for Randle-El to the 37-yard line. Fletcher got him there, but not until a gain of 20.
The last 2 plays are typical of the way football has gone on offense for Indiana the last 2 weeks. They tend to fall behind. In fact, they were down 14-0 to Northwestern, and we all know this is not Northwestern that they're playing. But here he is. He should be trapped back there at the 8-yard line. He busts out of there and runs it out to the 36, and they got a first down, and they've got a little life.
Cameron says, boy, it's nice on 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10 to know that your quarterback can make that play. Not this time, though. On a blitz, Chris Gadorzi. The captain, senior from Wausau, Wisconsin.
When you practice against the option, as Wisconsin does every day through the spring, through the camp in the fall, and with a scout team, they may not have a Randle-El on their scout team, but they adjust to the speed of the game very quickly. They've been flawless on the option today.
If they have a Randle-El, he's not on the scout team.
No, I think he would be playing.
High on 2nd and 15, and Randle-El keeping maybe a yard. First contact that time from Sam Miller, who was a quarterback at high school, is now a 6'5", 251-pound defensive tackle.
Yeah, and was it you that asked the coaches yesterday, did y'all promise him he was going to be a quarterback? No, we never told him he was going to be a quarterback.
That was never in the plan.
Sam still wears number 9, though, doesn't he?
They need 14 on 3rd down, and Randle-El rolling. Fires complete. Darren Graham was close to the first down marker when he made the catch, but he hadn't gotten 15. He only had 13 before both safeties got him, Myers and Doring.
Darren Graham is a sophomore, and here we've got conflicting important aspects of football on the same play. You got to come back for the ball, but you got to know where the first down marker is. So he goes off and says, Coach, I came back to the ball. Yeah, but you got to start far enough that you end up with the first down, son.
Now look at this. 4th and 1. Randle-El has him huddling, and Cameron at least is going to line up as if to go for it from his own 46. Maybe they'll draw him offside. Nope, they're going, and Randle-El hit at the line of scrimmage. I don't know if he's even close enough for a measurement. Lasowski and Thompson, the linebackers, converging on Randle-El near the 47, but he had to get right at the 47.
Kalaji, Malik, Bryant, Favre are dominating the line of scrimmage. Indiana's getting no movement. There's penetration on virtually every play. The linebackers are able to come free and smash the quarterback, the fullback, and the pitchback, and there's nothing doing on offense for Indiana except for the scrambles. That's what's happening. That's why you see what you just saw.
And I don't think he had it. He's short by a length of the ball.
After all is said and done, football is played up front by the big guys, and watch everybody else swarm to the ball. Penetration destroys option football. There's no movement. There are red shirts at and behind the line of scrimmage. And Antwaan is a great player, but he's not going to run over anybody, and Kevin loves it. Defensive coordinators live and breathe for those moments.
Cameron gambles, comes away giving the Badgers, again, incredible field position from the 46-yard line of Indiana. Dane on first down for a couple. Randle-El actually made first contact with his own guard, James Broyles, and from that point it was pretty easy to surround him with defenders.
James Broyles had a big red shirt in his sternum. That's the reason for that contact. It's not a good feeling for an O-lineman to feel your quarterback running into your rear end. You're supposed to be knocking the defender the other way.
Well, the Hoosier defense, Cameron says, much improved since the second half of the Kentucky game, and they need to step up here. Incomplete with a flag on Sherrod Wallace for contact with Demetrius Brown.
We're seeing those weapons that the offensive coordinator, Brian White, talked about, and we're seeing some weapons that we were not aware of. Wisconsin's going to throw this football. They're going to run it. They're going to mix it up. It makes it extremely difficult to defend.
Defense. It's a spot foul. Automatic first down.
David Whitboat, our referee today. Coming up tomorrow, Week 6 of ESPN Sunday Night Football, 8:15 Eastern. Washington Redskins bringing their high-powered offense into Arizona to take on Jake Plummer and the Cardinals. And then on ABC's Monday Night Football, Troy Aikman leads the Cowboys against the New York Giants. ESPN and ABC, your exclusive home for primetime NFL football. Ron Dane to the 32. Pickup of about 4 yards. Kemp Rasmussen, the improving sophomore defensive end, wrapping up Dane. Rasmussen basically inheriting the defensive line role of a Goonley. Although to expect him to match the numbers of Adewale, not fair to either one for a while at least.
No, not this year, but he's got a chance to develop.
I gave Dane 5. Davis went in motion as if to take it on reverse. Chad Coombs, the fullback, with the short toss, and he'll be near first down yardage. Let's look in on the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Brian Canning.
That's right, Dave. Minnesota and Illinois, both off to good starts this year. Winner here could be a bowl contender later on. And here Luke Leverson breaking this open for Minnesota, going all the way back 72 yards. Minnesota up on top 7-zip.
Led Wisconsin last week most of the way, and 2 late Pasetsky field goals, first forced overtime and then won it in overtime.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting what Glenn Mason, the Minnesota coach, said. We focused on Dane so much we held him under 100 yards, but we lost the game. That's what can happen.
Guess who on 3rd and 1? The usual result, first down Badgers. To the 25. Sean Nelson made the tackle. Down to Dave Ryan.
Well, Dave and Bill, one thing the Wisconsin coaches are so impressed with is the confidence of Brooks Bollinger in the huddle, and we're seeing that again today right here in the field after the couple of touchdown drives. With his teammates on the bench and talking with the coaches up in the press box on the phone, you can see the way he relates to his teammates and the other players on the Wisconsin bench. A lot of confidence out there. This guy's not acting like a redshirt freshman who hasn't been around the Big Ten wars for a while.
The numbers aren't freshman-like. 7 of 7, 123 yards and a touchdown. Fake went today. Now Bollinger in the open field. Bollinger inside the 15, knocked out just outside the 10. Picks up 15 yards.
We're talking about presence of mind here and having all his faculties under control. He looks so smooth that he doesn't look fast, but this guy can run. He makes people miss in the open field. He runs away from people. Ask Jason Zapp right there, number 68, and he knows when to get out of bounds. You can see this is a coach's son. His dad taught him well. His father, former offensive coordinator at North Dakota.
Rob Bollinger. How proud must he be right now? Dane from the 10. When we talk about yardage after contact, he got to the line of scrimmage and was hit right there and got about 4 or 5 after Rasmussen made that first hit, and that's going to do it for the first quarter. Ron Dane, 11 carries, 26 yards. Not his usual numbers, but not necessary the way Brooks Bollinger and the newfound air threat has performed for the Badgers. Up 14-zip.
Which Sports Center do you watch? Now at 6 p.m. only.
Building across the street from Camp Randall. Look at the field house, the autumnal splendor, and Lake Wingra.
Oh, you've been waiting all year to say that.
Finally
you
can.
Just love it when you get to say that. What does it mean?
Oh, 2nd and 6. Not quite goal to go. Bollinger runs the option for a Wisconsin touchdown.
Great movement up front. Bill Ferrario, Casey Robach, Rob Roll, back up right guard, number 53. Just knocked the Hoosiers back off the ball, and Bollinger knows exactly what to do with it when he gets that kind of opening.
Not only is he perfect through the air, he has his 2nd touchdown run of the year. And he averages almost 5 yards per carry when he keeps it. Pasetsky, 3 for 3, 21-0, 15 minutes and 4 seconds into homecoming at Camp Randall.
Football on the goal line is something that coaches love to preach. This is where you become a man. This is where you get tough. And this is where Wisconsin makes the living. If you're going to play for the Badgers, you hang on to the football and you play tough on the goal line. Brooks steps in here. He says, I almost have to pinch myself to think that I could be starting in the Big Ten this early and that it could be going so well.
And the man that
likes the humility.
Man that he's replaced, Scott Kavanaugh, helping it out from his role now as the backup. Their starter in the first 4 weeks of the season, nursing an elbow injury. In the first quarter, you look at the numbers that Bollinger has engineered, you think, well, that's backwards, isn't it? What, 55 rushing, 123 passing? That's Wisconsin? It is now. 32 total yards on the other side. All Indiana has mustered. Dane, a supporting role for him so far.
Yeah, I'm not sure Ron would mind that at all. After he's carried this load around for some time, it's nice for him to have some other weapons. And what's going to happen is they're going to have to change their scheme. Everybody is, starting with Indiana, and cover these wide receivers that are splitting out and compensate for Bollinger's running and passing ability, which is going to make it much easier for Dane. And that's not good news for opponents.
Darren Graham, game-breaking potential. again with A.C. Carter, Pasetsky. Graham with his first return from the 4. Our college football lineup later today on ESPN at 6 p.m. Eastern. A key Big East showdown as 15th-ranked Syracuse battles number 4 Virginia Tech. And at 9, Doug Johnson leading 6th-ranked Florida against Auburn. ESPN 2's lineup, 5 o'clock. Pittsburgh takes on once-beaten Boston College. And at 8, Utah visits 25th-ranked Air Force. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network, go.com. Randle-El with Jeremy Johnson getting his first series at fullback. And the call at the line by Antwaan. Fake to Johnson. Option pitch. What's there for LeBron Williams? A waiting tackler in the person of the free safety, Jason Dorr.
Perfect defensive execution. The fake to the fullback. There's a tackler there. The quarterback comes down the line. There's a tackler there. The ball is pitched, and the free safety, Jason Doring, is exactly where he's supposed to be on the pitch. Boom. Bryant there for the fullback. Boom. Lesowski there for the quarterback. Boom. Doring there for the tackle on the quarterback, or rather the pitchback.
Randle-El on the roll. Jump pass. Not quite ready for it that time. Craig Osika, the tight end. LeBron Williams with the 4th best single game total in Hoosier history last week on just 22 carries, 241 yards. He had 308 for the entire season coming into that game, and right now he leads the nation at better than 10 yards per carry. So when Randle-El poses his running threat, they get the pitch man going like Williams in Indiana roll. With time, Randle-El, that should have been picked off and maybe returned for 6 by Donnell Thompson.
Donnell's going to take so much heat for that. His teammates are going to say, your hands ought to be on the clock, man. That great story, Donnell selling pop here in the stadium when he was a kid, growing up right nearby, getting a chance to run a touchdown in his senior year at linebacker, and he couldn't make the catch.
Good snap this time for Drew Hagan. Good kick, angles it away from Nick Davis. Always a good idea. Camp Randall happy so far with a blowout truck.
ESPN's presentation of college football is brought to you by Isuzu. We don't make cars because life is too big for cars. And by AXA Advisors. AXA Advisors, building future.
Well, Indiana, again, this is 3 weeks in a row. They're in position to have to make a comeback. 2 weeks ago, down by 21, 28-7. Beat Illinois in overtime by 3, down 14-0 in their last game. Beat Northwestern 34-17. Bollinger keeps maybe for a yard, yard and a half. Badgers again take over in great shape after the near interception by Randle-El.
So what happens to a Randle-El who carries such weight of the program on his shoulders? He begins to try to make things happen that aren't there. Now, right here, the umpire, Percy Munn, you see him right there. He shields off Donnell. He doesn't mean to, but sometimes umpires get a little more involved than they would like. Randle-El doesn't see Donnell. He's trying to force things and gives Donnell a chance to bat the ball down, which is not what he wanted.
3 wideouts and the first incompletion of the game. Intended for Chambers.
Now, what Randle-El has got to do, and what he's been able to do the last 2 weeks, is to pull himself together, get his team going. It's as if by magic he begins to do his thing up and down the sideline. I watched him practice Thursday, and he's constantly on the move. He's bouncing between plays. He's in people's face. He's encouraging. And he's going to have to do that here. He is the leader of this football team, especially with Adewale Ogunleye out.
Joining in the offensive line huddle over there. Meanwhile, the Badgers, making almost half their third down conversions this year, need 9 here. And Bollinger has not been pressured yet. A strike for Davis. Turns, sprints through, tackles to the 20. Finally, Devin Schaefer ran him down. He broke a couple of tackles, and it goes a total of 35 yards.
We asked the coaches yesterday, why doesn't Ron Dane catch more balls? They said, we got too many weapons. We want to get the ball to Chambers. We want to get it to Nick Davis. Watch Nick here. Nice job on the comeback. A little curl route. And when he turns and explodes, he is a rocket. One of the leading punt returners in the nation.
From tiny Manchester, Michigan. Dane with 4 white jerseys combining for no gain. Now to Dave Ryan.
Dave, we asked the Wisconsin coaches why exactly Nick Davis is such a weapon. They say he runs a 4.5 40-yard dash. That's good speed, but not world-class. The key is he goes hard every play, whether it's a pass route or reverse or downfield blocking assignment, makes his break on the pass route at full speed, whereas some players who run 4.4, maybe they'll let up if they're not involved directly in the play. That's what makes Davis so dangerous, because the defense has got to respect him wherever he is, whatever he's doing on the field.
So do the special teams. He scored on a punt return and a kickoff return. He's the first Badger in 21 years to score 3 different ways in the same year. Ira Matthews did it in 78. Second and 11. Bollinger, quarterback draw. To the 13, where it will be 3rd and 3. Curtis Randle-El, who backs up Sherrod Wallace at quarterback, making that tackle Antwan's brother.
Yeah, Davis doesn't like for confidence. Get back to Nick Davis, we were talking about a moment ago. When he was a freshman, Barry asked him, son, you think you can catch a punt? He said, Coach, I can catch BBs in the dark.
That was a great answer. Whether he actually meant it or not, it got him the job.
Sort of puts a little pressure on yourself.
He apparently likes the pressure. 3rd and 4. Bollinger searching, and the completion at the 10-yard line, which will be close to the first down for Davis, but I don't think they're going to give it to him. And so Pasetsky and the field goal unit are on, although they're only short by about a foot. We'll see if Alvarez sticks with this decision to go for 3, and evidently he will.
Yeah, I think his coaches are real happy that he's here to make these kinds of decisions, because they frankly don't want to face him later if they make one he doesn't like. You could just tell that being around here. The guy is really respected.
One of the strongest legs in college football, Pasetsky, who immigrated from Russia at age 14. And his 27-yarder is good. Badgers add to the lead. Now 24-0. 3 touchdowns and the field goal by Pasetsky from 27. 24-0. We're still early second quarter. Pasetsky will re-tee. Breezy afternoon in Madison today. He is kicking with a pretty good wind at his back.
Kickers really don't like this. Somebody's in their way. It intrudes from their normal rhythm. In fact, kickers don't like anything that's different from the norm. So this guy holding the ball here makes it a little tougher for him to... He usually kicks this thing into the nickel seats.
So Jamar Fletcher helping out with the hold. Graham. No room. And the return goes only 15 yards for Darren Graham. On the last possession, Brooks Bollinger banged on the right hip, maybe a hip pointer.
Yeah, maybe a little bruised. It looks like he's moving around just fine. What does it really mean to be a coach's son and to understand football so well? The play prior to the field goal attempt by Wisconsin, everybody's covered. So does he just run scared? Nope. Look at his head, right? Look where he's looking. He's looking for a receiver. He's not just trying to run out of trouble. And he finds his man and might well have made a first down because of his poise.
Randle-El back against the grain, and the catch is made for about 6-7 yards by Craig Osika. How is Brooks Bollinger?
Well, Dave and Bill, looks like he will be okay. Denny Hellwig, the head trainer of Wisconsin, says a bruised right hip. They'll put some extra padding on it, but he will be out there and ready to go for the next series. He's all right.
Well, just the same, Scott Kavanaugh was up and loosening up and still is, just in case. They hope they get Kavanaugh in today. And if this score continues to mount, no doubt they will. They try the middle. Dwayne Hogan, the fullback. Bottled up by Wendell Bryant and Donnell Thompson. This Indiana offense, 22nd in the country, averaging 427 total yards. Best running attack in the Big Ten. Fourth best total numbers in the Big Ten, and they're getting nothing, either on the ground or through the air against the Wisconsin defense in this first half. 41 total yards against 230 by the Badgers. Randle-El on the keep and should have the first down up to the 28.
And why does that happen to an offense that's been dominating at times and running up and down the field? There are a couple of things here. This is very important. The Wisconsin front four and the linebackers are executing to perfection. They're where they're supposed to be. They're doing exactly what Kevin Cosgrove has taught them. And those corners are everywhere with the wide receivers, so the play action has been shut down too.
Play action. Open receiver hit, and hanging on is Percy Gaddis. Terrific catch for 17 yards to the 45. Hit hard by Fletcher, but hangs on.
Terrific catch is exactly the right description for Percy Gaddis, who was having trouble catching the ball when we last saw him a few weeks ago. So he's grown up a lot. But you notice Fletcher's right there with him. They're going to have to thread the needle like this and make catches like this and get hit like this in order to move the ball against this defense. Nice execution.
And easily the biggest gainer through the air. Option left, slipping Randle-El. No gain. What is LeVar Arrington up to, Brian Kenny?
Well, Davey's a very busy man. Penn State, Ohio State, and LeVar Arrington put on the same side with defensive end Courtney Brown. And there's a LeVar leap. Getting the bell started there, and then more. Pretty much uncontested here. Arrington comes in. Rodney Gilmore sitting next to me said you can't put four guys on one side to block those two guys. So Arrington running wild, Dave.
Add those to the Arrington highlight reel.
Arrington is a highlight reel.
He really is. 2nd and 10. Play action and looking deep was Randle-El. He not only can't find an open receiver, he can't find an open running alley, and Eric Malik and Ross Kalaji made sure that that would go nowhere.
You talk to the Wisconsin coaches, what in the world do you do about this incredible offense? Execution. Everybody is where he's supposed to be. There's no place to go. Normally, when Randle-El scrambles and makes long runs, somebody's out of position, out of his rush lane. Wisconsin is giving a clinic on defensive football here against a fine offense.
3rd and 11. Over the middle, should have been caught by Graham, and wasn't. He would have had the first down.
You make that catch, or you're in trouble in a game like this. They're up in your face. They're daring you and daring Graham. You've got to make this dig route count. You've got to come inside, catch this football in your hands. Nice throw. All you got to do is come down with the football, and the drive continues.
Instead, you again kick it away to an offense you haven't stopped yet. And the dangerous Davis waiting at his 14th. Hagan. A little bit off the side of the foot and a sideways hop. And it looked like maybe Davis touched it as it rolled out of bounds. He was touched by a Badger. Only 29 yards. 24-0.
For Sterling savings, head to Menards. Tub and shower doors from Sterling by Kohler are on sale. Save on a great selection. This shower door is $59.99. This tub door is $79.99. Mow and bath faucets feature a lifetime warranty. This single-handle faucet with pop-up drain is on sale, $54.99. A matching tub and shower faucet with anti-scald protection, $69.99. Turn on to big savings at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
Oh, the friendliest prices in Gurnee on Pontiac, Buick, and GMCs.
You got a friend.
Anthony's model year-end clearance, buy a new 99 Buick Century for only $15,995.
You'll spot the best deals at Anthony.
That's right, Spot. Anthony won't be undersold on any new Pontiac, Buick, or GMC. Roof. Come in and find out why you've got a friend at Anthony, 7225 Grand Avenue, 1 mile west of Gurney Mills.
The meal starts at 9:53 a.m. with the Did You Know as my appetizer for the 10 o'clock show, which is my main course. And for dessert, I don't know, the ice cream with the cookie dough is pretty good.
The Winston 500, tomorrow at 1 on ESPN.
Hey, each of the last 2 years, Wisconsin and Indiana right down to the final moments. They won 24-20 last year after the Badgers trailed 13-3 late in the third quarter. And 2 years ago, a field goal with 6 seconds remaining to win by 1. 27-26. Not today. Bollinger hit on the hip, replaced by Scott Kavanaugh, who began the season as the starter. He takes over at his 26 and gives to Dane. Follows his blocking into the clear and the foot race with Sherrod Wallace, who finally catches the Great Dane at the 5. 69 yards.
Great job there by Retzloff, the tight end, number 87, and Tauscher, number 68, the tackle. And if you think Ron Dane doesn't have speed to go with that power, once he breaks through the briar patch, look at the big man accelerate. Only a little bitty DB can catch up to it. And he wasn't slowing down at the end of that run.
It is his longest run of the year by 23 yards, and it gets him already up near 100. And he gets the Badgers to 1st and goal at the 5. And Chad Coons with the call, and the fullback powers all the way to the end zone. Another Badger touchdown.
His coach calls him the best fullback in the country. Quite simply, the best fullback in the country. And when our eyebrows went up, he said, wait a minute, you just watch him play. He does everything. Chad Coons blocks, he catches the ball. When he gets a chance to run with it, which is not very often, he runs it as well. He got those pads down and took it in the end zone.
He averages 7 yards a carry. When he does, it's just his 6th carry and his 2nd touchdown. And another extra point by Pasetsky makes it 31-0. Chad Coons, sophomore, Bellevue, Ohio.
When the big guys up front are doing what they're supposed to, it doesn't matter who's running the ball. Dave Costa right there. No, that's Rob Roll, his replacement, 53. Knocking the linebackers into the back of the end zone, and Barry is feeling much better about his knee about now.
Ron Dane on that 69-yarder to set him up, and that is the 3rd longest run of his career. He had an 80-yarder at San Jose State 2 years ago, a 71-yarder as a freshman at Hawaii, so it's his longest run ever here at Camp Randall. Boy, and at 248 pounds, to see him sprint with the little 190-pound defensive back is just a sight.
He might be down around 247 today. He looked faster than I've ever seen him on that thing. You know, I think he's getting tired of the politicking with all this stuff about the individual awards. And I think you may see him popping some longer runs, maybe even more determined than he's been in the past.
Well, all the people around the country saying, Dane may be out of the Heisman race. They were telling him this week, hey, a win and a 200-yard outing, and you're right back in the thick of it. And Pasetsky shows that terrific leg strength. Wisconsin has enjoyed incredible field position. The average drive has started at the 36-yard line. 2 plays, 74 and a touchdown. 7 and 45 for the only field goal. 46, 67, 80 on the opening drive.
This team majors in ball security and field position.
They have averaged 11 yards on first down. Indiana has averaged 2 on first down, and this will help as number 2, Versigatis, brings in a 22-yarder.
That's exactly what has to happen. Execution has to be answered with execution. Those defensive backs aren't going to be very far from people like Versigatis, and if he continues to make catches like that, then this offense has got a chance to generate something here. But that's what it's going to take.
Difference of 17 yards in takeover position. Indiana's average starting point, they're 19. Here's Randle-El in the open field. And dragging him down is the strong safety Bobby Myers, but he picks up 12 yards.
What a nice job by Bobby Myers. And you wonder, how could Myers make a tackle like this in the open field? This guy's so elusive. Well, this time, Randle-El gave him about 6 moves. He needs to give him 1 move and then dart away from him. Good job by Myers keeping his balance. And they call defensive holding.
Bobby Myers, according to Kevin Cosgrove, their best defensive surprise this year.
Yeah, that's exactly the way he described him. A little bit of a surprise that Bobby's played as well as he has. Here's Randle. Bobby keeps his feet under. Randle gives him too many moves, gets dragged to the ground, but defensive holding on the play. So tack it on.
Myers, having lost and regained his job numerous times before this senior season, he's got a pretty firm lock on it now at strong safety. So with the mark off, Hoosiers from the 36. Play action, they set up the screen for Jeremy Johnson. And their answer today, and at least physically, is dragged out of bounds by Chris Scadorzy. Here's Johnson, who was a 300-pounder just a few months ago, down to about 263, but similar speed today.
Yeah, Cam Cameron gave him the age-old option that the head coach gives a great player, a potential great player like this. You want to play nose guard and wear 61, or you want to play fullback and wear 1. Give me about 60 pounds off that body, and that's what Jeremy did. He took it off. Emerging along with Williams as a running threat to complement Randle-El. Keeps on the action. A little yardage after contact for Antwaan. Should have close to a first down pick up to the 26. Thompson with the stop there. And they don't need to measure. David Whitboat says first down Hoosiers. A brilliant bit of misdirection here by Indiana. The quarterback comes out from under the center, starts to his left, darts back to his right. The fast flow linebackers are taken out of the play. You can't block them, fool them a little bit. Good play call. 9 carries, 42 yards for Randle-El. He's over 1,500 career rushing yards, and he is flattered by Ron Palaji for a loss of 10. Palaji playing the Tom Burke defensive end spot, where Burke racked up a nation-leading 22 sacks last year. Yeah, and Coach Alvarez felt like his defense would be even better this year without Burke. So Craig Robine, number 78 for Indiana right here, learns that his counterpart, 78, runs almost as fast as Big Tom Burke did. And this is one of the few times that Randle-El is caught by surprise. He normally senses those kinds of things with that sixth sense that great quarterbacks have. One of their fastest defensive linemen ever. Palaji in a crowd. Randle-El delivers, tipped away by Jamar Fletcher. Intended for Jerry Dorsey, who was behind Jamar. He made a desperate leap and got a piece of it. I'll say it again and again. What Wisconsin does is plays its responsibility, and Jamar is no exception. He may have been as good a true freshman, or rather redshirt freshman corner as I have ever seen a year ago, and now he's more mature. He's going to be close to the football all the time. That forces execution by the offense. Look at the vertical jump.
Third and 20. Juggled and dropped as he again went to Dorsey, and Dorsey knew what was coming. A meeting with Jason Doring. The 202-pounder with the linebacker mentality and style of hitting.
Yep, Jason's one of those former walk-ons. They got 3 of them that start on this defense, and he is the heavy hitter on the defense. And when you go across the middle, you know one thing. You can catch the ball and get drilled, or you can drop the ball and get drilled. It's more fun to catch it. You're going to get drilled either way. Dorsey needs to make that catch to get his team back in this game.
And for Cameron, what else do you do down 31-0, even when you need 20 on 4th down? Now they need to hurry. Snap in time. Much better protection. Breaks out, looks up, fires incomplete for Williams. And the picture of frustration right there. And there. Badgers 31-0, 4:04 in the half.
Step up. Learn to see farther. Learn there are teachers who won't allow you to fail. Learn to dance, to draw. Learn that the real challenge doesn't come from the outside, but from within. And that there's more to you than you ever knew. Be all you can be.
All right, Captain, we're going to have a coin toss now. If there's a team, we'll call it in the air. We want a good, clean game. We're all professionals here. Does anyone have change for $1?
Want to get away? Now you can. For only $99 or less, you can fly coast to coast when you purchase by November 3rd and travel October 5th through March 31st.
You are now free to move about the country.
Get up, get down. Hang tight, hang loose.
It's been said that moderation is the key to happiness. We don't know who said it, but we know it wasn't someone from Australia. Outback Steakhouse. No rules, just right.
Well, the homecoming party's already in progress with a 31-0 lead. 4 minutes, 4 seconds to go in the second quarter. Dave Barnett, Bill Curry, and Dave Ryan at Camp Randall Stadium, where this has just flat been an annihilation. Led by Bollinger, who is again this series replaced by Kavanaugh. Last series, it was a 69-yard run by Dane to set up their latest score. He starts this series by following his blockers right through the middle for about 6 yards on the pickup. And let's check in with Brian Kenny on what's ahead at the half.
All right, Dave, coming up, we'll check in with Penn State and Ohio State. The Buckeyes are hanging tough in this game. We've got highlights. Also check in with the game day gang there in Blacksburg, and nobody booing Coach Corso this week. That plus the latest on Joe Hamilton. Big day in the air for him. That's coming up at the half, guys.
Yeah, John Cooper raising some eyebrows this week, saying if we play our best game, Lions played their best game, they probably win.
He's just getting his guys fired up.
Dane on 2nd and 4. It'll be close, but not quite there for the first down, near the 46. Derek Barnett and Mike McGrath up from safety.
Ron Dane, after being hit, just keeps chugging. You see the whole pile move back. He's got 101 yards today. After the first hit, 80 of them. So he's doubling his, almost doubling his percentage. He's 80% after being hit. It's almost like hit me and then I'll get cranked up.
Third in all-time Big Ten annals, 28 career 100-yard game, but just his second in the last 6 conference games. And that is good for the first down. Let's go down to Dave Ryan.
Well, Dave and Bill, you might wonder how a rugged running back like Ron Dane stays healthy when he takes so many hits and doesn't have a bye week this year to heal up. It all starts in practice. Wisconsin coaches told Dane when he decided to come back for his senior year, he would not be tackled in workouts. Starting with preseason camp and full-speed scrimmages and drills, teammates stopped just short of contact with Dane. Plus, Dane has taken it upon himself to work out, extra bike, and running in the pool to keep himself in shape, and good game strength for him.
Kavanaugh, all alone, Bennett, inside the 5-yard line. The speedster breaks open, dragged down by Curtis Randle-El, 48 yards, the latest big gainer for the Badger offense.
And neither quarterback is ready for Bennett's speed just yet. Kavanaugh disgusted with himself because that's another one that should have been a touchdown, but the ball didn't get out far enough. And somebody did something back here. Maybe somebody downfield that shouldn't have been down there. That's inexcusable.
John Palermo, assistant head coach, out on the sideline with Alvarez up here in the press box.
That's the first thing you learn when you're the head coach or acting head coach. You say, who is it? Who did it?
Ineligible, downfield, offense, 5 yards, previous spot, repeat, first down.
Somebody is going to pay somebody who missed the block, got up, took a couple of steps forward. Some lineman, I don't know who it was, got into the secondary enough that he was detected, and everything comes back. Inexcusable for any of the linemen, and it had to be one of them.
Whoever it was, they had to go apologize to Kavanaugh and Bennett, spoiling their 48-yarder. The numbers for Scott, who with an injured elbow sat out as Bollinger took over at quarterback the last 2 games. Here's Dane in the open field again. Will they catch him? No. 57 yards this time.
Big Ron Dane said, I can run with the ball even if you don't hit me. It doesn't have to be after contact. Extremely well blocked, and we're saying that often today. Rob Roel, number 53, has come in doing a good job. Mark Tauscher, 68. Knocking people off the ball and opening holes for Ron Dane.
That gets him over 1,000 for the season, and that's another piece of history, another Pasenski extra point. Ron Dane, 16th carry, 57 yards for his second touchdown, 161 yards today, and for the season, 1,014 yards. He joins Tony Dorsett, Amos Lawrence, and Denvis Manns, the only 3 running backs before Dane in college football history to have 4,000-yard seasons.
And if you had ever wondered, and you watch the men block for Ron Dane, you understand why he has such respect from his teammates, and they work so very hard. Right here, these guys coming off the ball, knocking people back. Mark Anelli at the tight end with the seal. Beautiful job by Mark. Beautiful job by Roel. Beautiful job by Tauscher, 68. Ron Dane is clean, and then he accelerates and explodes, showing the kind of speed that most people don't understand that he has.
That knee doesn't feel nearly as bad right now for Barry Alvarez. Happy to be back on the premises.
Boy, he's chewing that gum, didn't he?
Not coaching from the hospital bed this week. A.C. Carter almost breaks the big one. Joey Mose got hit from behind, 23 yards. Ryan Kenny, Ohio State and Penn State. What's happening at Happy Valley?
Dave, we've been talking about LeVar Arrington. How about Niall Diggs, all Big Ten linebacker, 3rd and 10 for Penn State. Kevin Thompson back in his own end zone. There's Diggs, takes him down, ball is loose. Gary Barrett picks it up. Touchdown, Buckeyes. It's only 13-10 now as we get near the half, Garrett.
There when the season began, a lot of people were saying Niall Diggs is at least as good, maybe better than Arrington.
Well, I think he's a great player. I mean, he's one of the few that you can say that of in America that is that good.
Randle-El, the option pitch for Williams. Worked pretty well this time. Close for a first down with 1:42 and a half. Doring and Godorsey. with the angle on LeBron Williams.
Nice change-up by the Indiana coaching staff to get Craig Osika, number 89, into the perimeter. Those DBs have been coming up and drilling the pitch man. This time, Osika got out and did a good job of blocking, and that's why you saw the nice gain. There's a reason for these things.
And for Williams, it was enough for the first down. They've held him to 6 yards on 4 carries. On 2 of those 4, he lost yards. After the option look overthrown by Randle-El. That one intended for Jerry Dorsey. Rondane today has the 3rd and 5th longest runs of his career. The 69-yarder, his longest here at home, and 3rd in his career, and that 57-yarder, the 5th longest of his career.
He's so soft-spoken, I can't hear what he's saying. He didn't say, "Hi, Mom." That's an upset in itself.
Marker down as the Hoosiers break the huddle. David Whitlow.
Prior to the snap, illegal substitution, 12 on the field in the huddle. 5-yard penalty. The down remains second.
The rule says if you have 12 people in the huddle, within 3 seconds, one of them must leave, at least one. If that doesn't happen, you get flagged.
Boy, for a team that had shown progress, what do they make of this first half disaster? On the blitz, down goes Randle-El to Dorsey from strong side backer.
What happens in a situation like this, Dave, what they make of it is that they're just in a daze. You just get hammered. They're just being whipped by a better football team. And everybody goes into a sort of a state of shock. In this case, even Randle-El shows signs of that kind of behavior. He knows that he doesn't have all day to stand here. That wasn't a particularly quick blitz by Dorsey. Everybody is so rattled at Indiana right now.
3rd and 24. They slipped it off nicely. That's a neat bit of ball handling that time. And LeBron Williams up near the original line of scrimmage where Bobby Myers and Donnell Thompson have him. Carried out the fake, and a lot of the defense followed Randle-El long after he'd given it up. And the Badgers call time now. 43 seconds still to go before halftime. Coming up tonight at midnight, the Cart FedEx Championship Series continues from the Gold Coast. Queensland, Australia is the host of the Grand Prix of Australia. Rookie sensation Juan Montoya needs only 9 more points to secure his first championship over challenger Dario Franchitti. Midnight Eastern tonight on ESPN. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network. You know, if form holds for Barry Alvarez, we may not see much of Rondane in the second half. He has not played him in blowouts just to improve the numbers, already having rolled up his 28th career 100-yard effort. Barring an Indiana comeback, that may be it. We'll see. Hagan's not had much of a first half himself. This goes only 23 yards to the Badger 41 with 35 seconds. Anthony Thompson, running backs coach for the Hoosiers. 28 100-yard games in his outstanding Indiana career, second only to Archie Griffin. Not many people that can relate to the numbers that Rondane is rolling up, and Anthony Thompson is one of the few. Movement right side, and intercepted by Jocelyn Goodman. Kavanaugh's pass is picked off and returned to the 34 by Goodman, the junior from Osceola, Indiana. Now the question is, was Dominique Smith drawn offsides? And he was not. Offsides Hoosiers. So even their best defensive play goes awry.
Yeah, when you get in this state of mind,
Defense,
there it is.
5-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
5-yard penalty. I'll guarantee you the happiest guy in this stadium is Scott Kavanaugh, because no matter what the score is, you don't do that in a Barry Alvarez football connotation. But everybody is so rattled at Indiana that they're just not paying attention to basics, not executing. Smith's job is to look at the football, not to be distracted by a snap count. It goes from bad to worse.
1st and 5. Dane's still in there for the time being, and he will be close for the first down at the 49-yard line of Indiana, and another timeout called by Wisconsin. They're next to last with 22 seconds. Dave Bryant.
Well, guys, Anthony Thompson, the running backs coach for Indiana, talking about him a few moments ago. He had an incredible game as an IU Hoosier star running back back in 1989, right here at Camp Randall. 387 yards rushing. At the time, that was an NCAA single-game record, which has since been broken. I talked to him about it before the game, and he said, great memories. Hope to have some more good memories after today. Unfortunately, that has not worked out.
Anthony, one of the top 10 career rushers in NCAA history.
And he's credited with bringing people like Jeremy Johnson, the big fullback from Louisville. He's a fine recruiter. He's going to be an outstanding coach. And he and his compadres have a heck of a job at halftime to get their guys to pull it together and come back out here and make a statement about their program.
So the Badgers lining up from the 48-yard line of the Hoosiers. Eddie Faulkner is in to replace Dane. Takes it left side with some room and cut it back for about 4 yards. And will they call their last timeout? Not yet, and now they will. Final timeout with 9 seconds. So time for one, maybe two more plays for Kavanaugh and the Badgers, looking to add to a 38-0 blowout.
Someday.
Deep to Michael Bennett. Kavanaugh underthrowing Michael Bennett, and with 4 seconds to go, one more play. Why the timeouts with 9 seconds?
They're really, in coaching, there's a sort of an unwritten rule. You can keep putting it up, you can keep running it up, as long as it's the first half. Now, you better not do it at the end of the game. People get upset about that. However many points you can score in the first half, you go ahead and try to score them. And that's sort of an unwritten rule among coaches. And that's what's happening. They're trying to get Kavanaugh some game action without being accused of running it up in a runaway.
So now, barring a penalty, this is the last play of the first half. Kavanaugh, boy, Indiana applying no pressure on either quarterback really whatsoever, and he got it off complete to Eddie Faulkner, and that ends as impressive a first half as we've seen all year. 38-0 with 382 total yards. They hold the Hoosiers, who have been potent, to 112. And we send you to the studio and Brian Kenny.
Dave, thank you very much, Brian Kenny. Rodney Gilmore here. You know, as I brought it up before the first half, asked, Martine Gramatica about that last year. A lot of bad karma after that. Speaking of good karma now, Wisconsin, more than Ron Dane. Of course, you're going to see in the box score that he's going to have these huge numbers, but it's more for Wisconsin than just Dane.
Oh, absolutely. Now that you see Brooks Bollinger there with them, more balance to the Wisconsin offense, which gives them a real chance in this race as we look down the road. They get Michigan State next week at home, a much better balanced offense for Wisconsin. That could be a tough ball game.
We have more Big Ten things to talk about here on the Holiday Inn Halftime Report. More games coming your way. We'll talk about the ACC as well. Got big numbers for a Heisman candidate. Talk about Joe Hamilton.
Nothing. Wisconsin, that's the lead they'll take into the third quarter against Indiana. Welcome again to Madison. Dave Barnett, Bill Kerr. Here's one of the few tough questions I can think about at this moment. Who is your player of the half for Wisconsin? Is it Brooks Bollinger? Is it Ron Day?
That's a dirty trick to play. I'm gonna do something that will surprise everybody in America. I'm gonna pick Brooks. The young guy goes on the road, helps to win 2 big games in hostile environments. Can he come home and display the same kind of poise at homecoming? A lot of times it doesn't work this way. In this case, he does. Moving in the pocket, not just running scared, but finding his receivers, and then when it's his turn, taking it up in there tough to score a touchdown of his own. When he leads the game with a bruised hip, Randle takes over in customary fashion and goes the distance, showing speed that he doesn't get to show when he's running in that briar patch.
Second half kickoff by Pacetti, fielded 6 yards deep by Darren Gray. In the first half, the Badgers roll up 401 total yards with 19 on that last pass, Kavanaugh to Faulkner. They get 220 on the ground, 167 of that by Dame, 181 through the air. Meanwhile, Indiana, top rushing attack in the Big Ten, held at 54 on the ground and 112 total. A total annihilation is what it was. Now, this is, again, a team that's come from behind each of the last 2 weeks, but not by anything approaching this deficit. Randle-El steps up, incomplete. His receivers have not helped him out today. For Jerry Dorsey, that's about 3 drops. Let's check in with Dave Ryan.
Well, guys, once again, Barry Alvarez, of course, cannot go and talk to his team at halftime. So John Palermo, who's running the sidelines for Wisconsin, told the Badgers a few moments ago, guys, we cannot let up. The first couple of drives in the second half are very crucial. We've got to play as hard as we did in the first 30 minutes and forget about what the score says.
All right, Dave, well, the sun breaks through for the first time all day in Madison. Will the IU offense break through? Randle-El, even when he steps up, where he's mostly a huge nightmare for any other defense, with the exception of one scramble, which went about 20 yards in the first half, has done very little damage.
The Barry Alvarez metaphor of making him play in a handball court worked a year ago in Bloomington, and it's working to perfection today, and he can do it because his defense is so well schooled and because they run so well. Everybody is where he's supposed to be.
A year ago, he carried 22 times for 22 yards. Pulls this one back, and Dorsey hangs on and makes the catch and will have the first down by a foot. Just across the 30. Dorsey, second among all junior college receivers a year ago at City College of San Francisco. 83 catches, 16 for touchdowns. Major part of Randle-El's passing game this year. About 16 yards per catch. When they throw it, it is generally the deep ball. So first and 10, here's the deep ball. And almost over the shoulder for Dorsey. Dropped right over the top of his helmet. He couldn't hang on.
Just a perfect throw, but Dorsey does not get his head around quite quickly enough. And Bose, as usual, these defensive backs in the red shirts are exactly where they're supposed to be. They're going to make you make a great play. And I don't think Dorsey ever really located the ball. It was a beautiful throw.
Joey Bose, sophomore from Villa Park, California, with him stride for stride. Give to the fullback for a couple. Dwayne Hogan. Ross Kalaji made the tackle.
How do you hem up a water bug? Well, Barry Alvarez says we just keep him in a handball court. Now, what does that mean? That means everybody has a place to be. Look at the restraint. Donnell Thompson there, squatting, staying right where he's supposed to be, mirroring Randle-El. Everybody else closes on him. Very frustrating day for the agile quarterback.
Feels the heat again and just got rid of that one. Who was closer, Hersey Gaddis and Darren Graham? Neither one all that close, and they'll have to kick on 4th and 9.
There will be a choice made by the Indiana team here in the second half, and it will be to get after this Wisconsin team and to restore some sense of pride in the program here and fight back, or to just sort of hang it up. And that decision will be obvious.
Drew Hagan still looking for a good punt. This isn't it. Off the side of the foot again. Marked out at the 41. College football today on ABC Sports. Regional action at 3:30 Eastern. Plaxico Burris leads number 7 Michigan State against number 21 Purdue. Also in action, Colorado visits Texas Tech. California battles UCLA, or Virginia visits NC State. Viewers on the West Coast will also see Arizona State play Washington at 4 p.m. Pacific time. Check your local listings for the games in your area, or make sure you can see them all by ordering ESPN Game Plan on pay-per-view. 27-yarder by Hagan. Kavanaugh, who took over after Bollinger got hit on the right hip, with the give to Eddie Faulkner. We may indeed have seen the last of Randle, and that fumble is recovered by Indiana at the 43-yard line. Eddie Faulkner coughed it up. Devin Schaefer on the bottom of the pile for the Hoosier defense.
Now, just as surely as Indiana's going to make a statement, Wisconsin's got to make a statement. And John Palermo was exactly right. You can't let up. You can't go out there and start putting the ball on the ground. Indiana takes this ball in. They got a chance to get revived, and then you got a real tiger by the tail, because they'll get some confidence.
Fumble caused by Faulkner's attempt at extra yardage. Wouldn't go down, and it finally popped loose. Ross Kalaji, John Favre, the defensive ends, collapsing on Hogan, the fullback.
Now, let me explain what I mean. I'm not talking about they're going to score 38 points here and come back and win this game somehow. I think that's extremely unlikely, although it has happened. But what can happen is you come out and relax, you turn sloppy, you get a bunch of people hurt in the second half because the team that's playing against you has nothing to lose, so they just start flying around and knocking you down. And you end up losing your momentum, and you don't play well the next week. That's what can happen to Wisconsin here.
High snap, Randle-El. Chased by Kalaji, and now Donnell Thompson runs him out of bounds at the 41. Well, in the second half, what they're up against is a Wisconsin team that excels, and especially in the fourth quarter, and a lot of that 45-9 advantage 2 weeks ago in Columbus when they broke it open from 17-0 down to a 42-17 runaway at Ohio State.
That's their style. They win in the second half. They pour it on in the fourth quarter when necessary. They don't need to come out here and have a lackluster second half, because it'll impact everything else.
Randle-El couldn't pitch it, couldn't turn it up, couldn't get away from John Favre.
He didn't even have the size of a handball court. There was a net around him that time. I mean, I'm not kidding. Wisconsin continues to play hard in spite of the fumbles.
Yeah, they do nothing with their biggest break of the entire day. On 4th and 10 from the Badger 44, Drew Hagan out again, and dropping deep this time is Tim Rosga. So look for a lot of the second and third liners at many different jobs to get looks in the second half for the Badgers. Rosga has it at the 15. This punt goes only 31 yards. 11:36 to go in the third quarter with the Badgers tossing a shutout.
ESPN's presentation of college football is brought to you by Chevrolet Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road, and by State Farm Insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Bill, very impressed that everybody stayed in Camp Randall. The homecoming festivities being postponed at least for a while. They're sticking around. Early third quarter, Michael Bennett, the sophomore from Milwaukee, with all the speed, unable to show it there. Chased down by Paul Mandina.
Yeah, good job by Paul Mandina, and it's a good idea to get this guy on the ground in a hurry, because he is lightning fast.
Bennett with explosiveness they haven't had near Madison in a long, long time.
Both these teams are continuing to play hard. That's very important. That's what we addressed at the beginning of the second half.
Crouch chanting, "We want Dane." I don't know if they're going to get any more of the great Dane. That's batted down by Jocelyn Goodman. Kansas and Texas A&M. Is that still close, Brian Canning?
Yes, indeed, Dave. Randy McCown here for the comeback against Kansas. Kansas team that lost to K-State 50-9 last week, but leading in this one and tied up here until McCown runs this in from 16 yards away. McCown is 14 for 16 for 186 yards there at the half, Dave.
Yeah, the passing attack that they've looked for years at Texas A&M, and for most of the year, he's had numbers like that.
Well, they got one of the great quarterback coaches ever down there. His name is Ray Dorr, and he's coaching McCown and the other QBs. Kavanaugh on 3rd and 10.
Ahmad Merritt makes the grab, and will they give him the progress for the first down? They will. To the 26, 11 yards. Wallace on the tackle of Merritt, senior wideout from Chicago.
Now, why is this important for Wisconsin? Well, you don't know. The Bollinger's going to finish the season. Kavanaugh needs to stay sharp. He looks sharp here. Good job by Merritt, catching the ball in his hands, making the necessary yardage for the first down. Good play, good execution for Wisconsin.
What do you remember? Has either Kavanaugh or Bollinger been pressured even once today?
Bollinger a time or two.
Bennett will show the sprinter speed all the way up the right sideline for a 74-yard touchdown. The second of his career. I don't think by any means it will be the last.
We may be looking at the successor to Ron Dane. And who's out there to congratulate him? Number 33. Yeah, Ron likes that. Hey, I found me a bunch of weapons. May just carry me to all kind of things here down the stretch.
Extra point tacked on by Pasetsky. Michael Bennett, a 74-yarder. Dane has a 69 and a 57-yarder. 45-0. Wisconsin state record holder in the 100 and 200, second in the country in the 100, 4.3 speed in the 40. Michael Bennett, probably the first of many breakaways at Camp Randall Stadium for that man.
And like all great sprinters, he's running full speed in about 2 steps.
Well, Pasetsky this time just misses, and he's really mad at himself, too, for not getting the corner, kicking that one out of bounds. So the latest scoring drive, 4 plays, and Bennett took it 74 of the 85.
This is power blocking, a double team at the point of attack. Good job there. Now, explosion. Watch this. Too fast. Nobody on the field runs as fast as that guy. Every now and then you'll see 21 guys running at one speed and one at another as fast as Bennett is. I don't know about that one now. The rocket is something.
Randle-El with time and delivers on target to Gaddis.
Number 2
for 17. Down to the 31.
And while we were talking about Bennett and Rocket Ismail, a little drive is going here with Randle-El, and Gaddis continues to catching the ball well.
Well, Randle-El came in today, needed 30 rushing yards to get over 1,500 for his career and 156 passing to get over 3,000 for his career. Fastest ever to those milestones, 3,000 through the air, 1,500 on the ground. Not close through the air. And again, not much there on the ground as Donnell Thompson springs him out. Down to Dave Ryan.
Yeah, guys, a nice moment a few seconds ago with Ron Dane and Michael Bennett. Dane went over and said, "I'm really proud of you, buddy," just like we did in practice day in and day out. Ron Dane, guys, known for quiet leadership. He normally is not very vocal, but today making sure the young running back Michael Bennett knew exactly how proud he was of him.
And you may be right. As Dane departs next year, they'll have Faulkner back for one more year. He's been the patient understudy, number 4 right there, but well, it may be Bennett's show next year. Randle-El hit for another loss. Roger year, the junior from Queens Village, New York.
Yeah, what we're seeing here is great recruiting by the Wisconsin staff. Player after player comes on the scene, and we continue to say, well, there's another playmaker. Roger Knight started ahead of Godorsey before he was injured last year. Watch him accelerate on the blitz. A lot of people in red shirts are good enough to win in the Big Ten.
Starter last year till he injured his ankle and ended his year with a broken arm at Michigan. A.C. Carter to about the 32. Roger Knight, they say in terms of just pure talent, may be the best linebacker they've got.
That's right. He runs well. He bends his knees well. He explodes to the ball well. But he's had a hard time getting back on the field because Donnell Thompson and Godorsey have played so well. But these guys won the Rose Bowl last year. We need to remind everybody of that.
Best season in their history, 11-1. 11 needed on this fourth down try. Randle-El wants a lot more than that. And open inside the 5 for the catch is Jerry Dorsey. First and goal. A 28-yard strike in front of Joey Bozak.
And if you're the Indiana coaching staff, you hope and pray that your men will come out and not just take it in the chops all day long. Fight back, catch some balls, score some points, see if you can't make something good come from this situation.
At least end the shutout, which they're finally in position to do. First and goal at the 4. And they try the middle. A.C. Carter runs right into Thompson and Eric Mollett. Got about halfway there.
And Thompson and Mollett, since you mentioned them on that play, are the other 2 walk-ons in addition to Doring. Came here as walk-ons, earned scholarships, and have been mainstays of this football team for the last 3 years. Great stories. Walk-on football players are very special people in my mind.
From the 3, Randle-El into the end zone. Incomplete. Trapped by Osika. No catch.
Think about what you're seeing on every play. Every play, there's somebody in Randle-El's face, and when he tries to throw the ball, there's somebody there to defend. There's nothing coming easy. Both squads continue to play hard. Almost a good catch by Osika.
Pretty close.
That guy, yeah, there's that jump pass that went through his arms and it touched the ground before he hemmed it up.
Third and goal from the 3. Option left. Pitch goes to Carter, spilled hard and coughed it up out of bounds as Chris Godorsey leveled it. A proud defense that does not want to surrender the shutout.
Cosgrove's got them conditioned. You get a chance to shut somebody out, you better shut them out. They don't even want to face him in this situation if they let somebody walk in the end zone. So they continue to fight. That is their habit.
4th and goal will come from the 8.
Listen to this crowd.
Randle-El caught at the 2, but that's where it ends. They do not let Jason Spear in. And the shutout stands.
Real football teams play hard all the time. The Wisconsin defense plays hard all the time.
If you're Kevin Cosgrove, you just got to be bursting with pride right now.
Watch Godorsey come out of, good gracious, backside backer, knocks the football back, and here's the 4th down play. People in the quarterback's face, people on the spot to make the play, and they turn the football back to their offense at the 2.
They didn't lead the nation in scoring defense for nothing last year. They did it with efforts just like that series. Carlos Daniels, who backs up Chad Coons at fullback, gets the carry. Sophomore from Farrell, Pennsylvania, 4th carry of the year. Daniels In the season opener last year at San Diego State, Dane and Faulkner both injured at 113 yards. Rest of the year, total of 166.
And both these coaching staffs will use this situation to get young players a lot of reps. Good experience, valuable experience comes in games like this.
Daniel's got 3. Faulkner reaches the 8. Mount Union is going for a record-winning streak. Brian Kenny.
All right, thanks, Dave. Yes, it's Mount Union versus Otterbein in Division III. 47 straight wins, looking for 48 for the all-time collegiate record. And Chuck Moore breaking out for 65 yards. This is a team that hasn't lost since December of 1995. Right now, they're up on top 28-7. You see now Oklahoma, Bud Wilkinson's team, tied with Mount Union. Of course, Oklahoma will have the major division college record, 1A ball, but they're looking for the 48 right now.
We, a couple of years ago, got a chance to see them win one of their national championships. You have to be in awe of what Larry Karras has done there. Demetrius Brown makes the catch. At the 18, first down.
It is one of the most heartwarming things, back to the Mount Union thing, and the entire Division III football entity is so special because there are no scholarships, and all those kids are working in the locker room or working in the student cafeteria just for the privilege of going to school, and then football is fun. It's just fun.
Real fun right now.
Yeah, you win every game. That makes it even more fun.
So Kavanaugh, the Badgers from the 18-yard line. Faulkner is the setback. Big went to him. The catch is made by Martinelli. Tight end. Knocked out of bounds by Sherrod Wallace, and Kavanaugh looking very sharp, very much in control. This goes 24 yards.
Yep, and Ahmad Merritt, number 1, the wide receiver who used to be a starter. Another guy who got beaten out is in the game blocking hard for his buddy. The big tight end went down the sideline. Martinelli also had a very good block earlier today.
The officials will call an official timeout. With Wallace injured, and they'll check him over on the Indiana side. Coming up tomorrow on ESPN2, the Major League Soccer playoffs get underway as the Tampa Bay Mutiny take on forward Stern John and the Columbus Crew. Tampa Bay comes into the match having won the season series 3-1. Coverage begins at 3 p.m. Eastern, live from Columbus Crew Stadium. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network. Go.com. Scott Kavanaugh, a senior who backed up Mike Samuel the last 3 years, and apparently will back up Brooks Bollinger the rest of this senior year. Faulkner, likewise, was on the support back behind Ron Day now for 3 years in a row, up to the 49-yard line. Bollinger exited in the second quarter after taking a hit on the right hip. 9 of 10, 162 yards, and a touchdown to Chris Chambers while he was in.
Yeah, he just throws so easily. He runs so easily. He doesn't look to be as good as he is. He is really an outstanding. He reminds me of a guy named Kim King that played at Georgia Tech in the 60s. The last guy to take a Tech team to the Orange Bowl. Great leadership, great presence.
Here is Bennett again after breaking the 74-yarder. Almost had it ripped away, but continues on to the 36, and this goes 15. Joe Gonzalez, freshman from Avon Lake, Ohio, knocks him out.
This is a really valuable experience for Bennett because he'll learn the cardinal rule for a ball carrier in this offense is to hang on to the football. This thing comes out. He has to reach back for it, otherwise he might have broken this one.
Pretty good yards per carry today for Michael Bennett. 3 carries for 89 yards.
That's pretty good.
That's about 30 a pop.
30 per.
Badgers cannot be stopped today. Bennett tried the other side. Makes a couple more arm tackles and again knocked down by Gonzalez.
And you'll notice on that carry, here's another thing you look for in a young back. Okay, he lost the ball the play before, got it back on the same play. What does he do the next play? Does he get rattled? Does he make a mistake? No, he secures it even better. Good signs from the young speedster. These young guys need to be glad. They're getting a chance to play. That's unusual. They're getting extended duty